Okay, let's get started laying down on our backs. Just relaxing into the floor. Have your arms down by your side or resting on your body. Close your eyes. Start to settle into your space, sensing your environment around you, maybe noticing the sounds, the music, any birds chirping or cars outside. Noticing the temperature in your room. And with your eyes closed, you might still have a sense of how much space you have around you, knowing what your room looks like. And tune into how that makes you feel too, this relationship you have with your environment. And then turn your attention towards your body. Turning your senses in, so checking in with the same thing. See what sounds your body is making, maybe with your breath, what temperature it is, if you're feeling cold or warm. So we're just starting laying down on our backs for the people that are just coming in. Taking a minute to settle. And then turn your attention to your breath. Just be an observer, see what it's like this morning. Feeling the cooler air come in on the inhale, warmer air coming out on the exhale. It's been warmed in your lungs. Great. Now pull your right knee into your chest and give it a good squeeze. So wrap your arms around the knee, around the shin, and start to make circles with the knee one way and then the other, exploring all the nooks and crannies in that big hip socket, seeing if there's any place that's particularly tight that you want to stretch into, breathe into. And circling the other direction if you've only been circling one way. And then clasp your hands behind your thigh, or rather on the sides of your thigh, so your leg can fall a bit further from you. And make smaller movements now, just letting the leg fall away and then back to its balancing point, having the knee right on top of the hip. So kind of explore the weight as it falls off center and then you pull it back to center. And let this all be done from the hands, so let the muscles of the legs hang. Have the muscle, the flesh be loose on the bone. And feel how this massages the back, how the weight changes in the hip as you find this strong pillar of the joint over the joint. Noticing that moment of falling off and then coming back. And then do the same thing, but let the fall come towards you. So let the knee fall in towards the chest and then pull it back right to center. So just marking this other side of this line, the straight line that's mapping from your midline head to tail. The knee come closer to the face and then further away. Letting the weight spread your lower back, really breathing into that hip. And then mapping, align the horizontal direction. So letting the knee stack right over the hip and then let it fall out to the side slightly. Maybe just a couple inches. Maybe a little bit further. And then just come back to center. So now a slight stretch in the adductor muscles on the inner thigh, but mostly just mapping our weight. Finding center, finding our relative center. And then map that same line on the opposite side of center, letting the knee fall over the other hip and then stacking back on top of its own side. Then reach the right hand inside the knee to the outside of the foot and let the knee fall further to the side now. So just let it hang in this stretch, kind of like a half happy baby, but maybe your foot is closer to the hip. You can move around, wiggle it out. So just stretching, bringing some breath, some fluidity into the hip. And then reach the left hand over the leg, grabbing the knee, releasing the right arm, and then pulling the leg over the body, coming into a twist. Letting the right hand come out to the side, looking towards that right hand. So you complete the twist across the body, letting the shoulder and the knee both fall down towards the ground. Letting gravity help us. And then use that left hand to lift the knee back to center. Squeeze it in one more time, give yourself a hug, and then let the right leg go long, pull in the left leg. First, just placing your hands wherever you naturally find them, finding circles, just feeling what your habit is, what you want to do first. Maybe finding those places that you naturally hold more tension, that you want to stretch. And if you're circling, then circle the other direction as well. Now find both hands on either side of the thigh, your mid-thigh, so that the weight of the whole leg can fall away from you, and start to map that little segment of the line from center and then towards your foot. So letting the knee find its balance right over the hip and then fall away from you. So you're finding more space between your thigh and your stomach. And see if this can open up space in the hip flexor as well. So let that fall go all the way so that it's releasing the hip flexor and then coming back. Feeling that moment where your leg would just completely fall down to the ground if your hands weren't there to hold it. And then back where it probably could balance for a little bit. Maybe you would have to use a slightly more muscle to hold it on top. But there's much more ease with the knee stacked right over. And then start to map the line, pulling the knee closer to the chest and back to center. And when you make this small movement of a couple inches, what else wants to respond? So maybe the right hip starts to roll forward or back. Noticing how everything is connected. So even though we're very grounded and balanced laying down on the floor, we can find these lines of connection all the way down to our foot, all the way up to our head, this rocking sensation. And then let the knees start to fall out to the side and back to center. Really finding that moment of a strong pillar of the knee right on top of the hip. And then let it fall, let it collapse, and then pull it back. And across the body, letting it fall a couple inches. And back to center, breathing into that hip, mapping the weight, really using your mind to feel this slight movement, becoming aware of how everything is connected. And then reach the left arm inside the knee, grabbing the outside of the foot, pulling the knee a little bit closer to you so you can stretch the thigh, letting the knee fall open. Reach the right arm to the knee, pull the whole leg across the body, open the left arm out to the side and look to the hand. Letting the knee and the shoulder fall to the ground or towards the ground. Letting the exhale bring you closer down. Giving into gravity with every breath. Let the hands pull the knee back to center. Wrap the arms around, give it one more squeeze, and let the leg go long with the other. Now pull both feet in so that your feet are flat on the mat. Heels right under the sits bones, knees to the sky. Fingers reaching down towards the toes. Start to curl the tailbone under, feeling the low back compress into the floor. Do a couple rocks here with the hips still on the ground. Feeling on the exhale, the contraction of the core. Curling navel to spine. On the inhale, letting the tailbone go back down, letting the air bubble come back under our low back. Few more of those. Inhale, exhale with the movement. And then on your next curl, pulling the pubic bone up towards the ceiling, start to engage the backs of the legs, lifting into a little bridge. And right back down, rolling down through the spine, articulating through each bone. Keep moving through that with your breath. Now finding a stretch of the fronts of the legs, engagement of the glutes and the hamstrings, really tracking the knees right over the toes. Keeping it small as you warm up, feeling the weight shifting into your shoulders as you lift your hips. Loosen the upper back. And then start to lift the hips a little bit higher at the top, still lowering all the way back down, releasing your hips to a neutral spine, and then curling under as you engage the whole canister of your core, lifting up to a high bridge and back down. One more time, lifting up the hips super high, still engaging that core so you're not compressing in your lower back. Stay up this time. Start to pulse, lowering the hips a couple inches and push them back up to the sky. Lowering a couple inches, lifting a couple inches. Feeling the movement right at the seam of your hamstrings and your glutes, so that crease on the back of your leg. Feel if you can initiate the lift from that point. Lowering and lifting. Keep going. Still breathing, so ease in the upper chest. Firming down through the feet. Make sure that you still have energy through the feet, through the toes, through the heel. And then lower the hips all the way back down. Lift the feet up into a 90-degree angle. So finding that kind of balance that we were playing with before, but now your core really has to work because both of your legs are up. Knees 90 degrees, hips 90 degrees. You can bring your hands onto your thighs to make sure that your legs aren't coming close into you. So every exhale, we're deepening this contraction of the core. On the inhale, we're still maintaining that stability. And then start to lower the right heel down to the ground. Keep that 90 degrees and lift it back up to meet the other. Lowering the left heel down and back up. You can also bring your hands onto your stomach. Make sure that your abs aren't poking out into your hands. Don't let them bubble up. So still wrapping in. Going nice and slow. Flexing through those toes. So the toes are pulling back towards the face. One more time each side, right and left. Once you finish with the left side and it comes back up to meet the right, lower the feet back down to the ground. Find an interlace of your hands and bring your hands behind your skull at the base of the skull. Lift your elbows so they're in your peripheral vision. On an exhale, lift your head and your shoulders, looking towards your belly button. And then lift your legs back to that 90 degrees right where they were. Extend the right leg long at a 45-degree angle as you crunch up on an exhale, curling that belly button down to the ground and back to center. Keep the head up. Exhale, extend the left leg, crunch a little bit closer to the legs, and then pull the knee back to that tabletop position. Keeping the head up, crunching, extending the right leg, and back to center. Feeling that smooth exhale, and inhale back to center. Exhale, extend the right leg, back to center, left, back to center. Looking down at those muscles right in the center, making sure they're not poking out, holding them down. Keep going. One more time, right and left. Once you finish that, lower both feet down, lower the head down to the mat. Take a big belly breath, let it out. On your next exhale, curl your head back up. Elbows wide, lift the knees, lift the feet back up. So extend the right leg on that 45 degrees, twist the right elbow towards the left, but don't move the leg, just the elbow. Inhale back to center, keeping the head high. Exhale, extend the left leg, twist the left elbow to the right knee, and back to center. Keep going with this, twisting side to side, keeping a long breath, long exhale, finding that squeezing in with the breath as you pull the navel down. Starting to use your obliques, so your side abs, to twist you over, making sure that you're firming down through both hips so they're not rocking side to side, finding steadiness in the middle. Release the neck, so let the hands hold the head. You can curl the chin towards the chest. Beautiful. Once again, one more set each side. Finishing the cycle. When you're done with that, come back to center, lower the feet, lower the head back down. Bring your hands behind your knees and rock up to a seat, bringing your feet flat onto the mat, knees still tracking right over the toes. Find a long spine, pull the shoulders back, hinge back, finding that engagement of the core again. Release the arms, Clasp the hands and start to twist side to side, reaching the hands over to the right and then over to the left. This can be a little bit quicker. Just finding some more fluidity in the spine, bringing your vision, your gaze with you as you look over one shoulder to the next, trying to keep your knees and your hips steady. So it's really just coming from your upper body. Really easy in the shoulders. And then come back to center, reach your hands forward, try to hinge back another inch. Breathe, open the chest, look up. Fingers have lots of energy, and then sit up tall, coming back with head over hips. Bend your knees in and rock over your legs, bringing your hands onto the ground, centering yourself in the middle of your mat. Finding tabletop for a minute, so just finding the weight, balancing over the wrists, shoulders over wrists, so the same thing, finding those pillars of joints over joints. Then reach your right foot back, have the toes on the ground, and do a couple rocks, stretching the back of the calf and under the foot. Still being very aware of your core here. As you're finding your neutral hips. Lower the right knee, extend the left. Same thing, rocking on the other side. Broad across the shoulders. And then extend the right to meet the left so you're in your full plank. We're right there already. So feeling all the fingers pressing down into the ground, lifting the kneecaps, really strong, kicking back through the heels, curling the tailbone under slightly so we don't fall into our midsection. Looking forward a couple inches past your fingers, and keep breathing. Inhale, imagining length through the head. Exhale, wrapping in, finding your strength. And then lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, stretch out through the heels. Find length on the sides of your ribs. And then look between your hands, start to walk towards the top of your mat. Finding your forward fold, bending over the legs, bending the knees so the thighs can come onto the legs. Shake the head yes and no, make sure your neck is completely relaxed. And then start to bring your hands onto your legs, walk yourself up. So you're coming through your halfway lift, and then bring your hands all the way onto your thighs. Still bending in our knees. So let yourself come into this kind of, and I feel like this is like a sports pose. Football. Start to move into your cat-cow spine in this kind of standing position. So on the inhale, we look forward, reach our chest forward, arching the back. Exhale, curl the tailbone under, press into the hands and the thighs, stretch into the upper back, curl your chin to your chest. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, curl in. So the same thing when we're on our hands and knees. Can you breathe into different parts of your spine? Feeling if there's any stickiness, anything that needs your attention, maybe in your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, maybe all the way up to your neck. Mapping your breath with your movement. So take the whole inhale and the whole exhale to bend in one direction. And still use your hands here. So you can find your weight into your hands, stacking right over the feet to help you open up through the chest and open up through the back. Let this help you find some more range in your hips. Then come back to a neutral spine. You're in your halfway lift. Pull your shoulders down. Reach your head away from your hips. Finding the space in that like organ region under the ribs. Pulling away. And then let yourself walk your hands back down to the mat to your forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, drape back down. Bend the knees, hinge at the hips, stand all the way up. Reach the hands up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands back down to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up. Clasp the left hand with the right. So you're grabbing the wrist. Inhale, find length. Exhale, bend to the side. Reaching over to the right. Wrapping the lower lung under the upper lung. Looking up. And then come back to center. Switch the clasp of the hands. Inhale, first finding length on both sides of the body, and then bend over to the side. Having that kind of C curve, wrapping the under lung forward, blooming through the chest. And back to center. Release the hands, dive right over the legs, bending down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Right foot, then left foot. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Inhale, find a baby cobra. Exhale, head back down, press through the hands, through tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Look up to the hands, step the right foot, then the left foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back down. Bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. Inhale, all the way up, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. Reach the arms around. Inhale, tall. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the left foot, then the right foot back to the plank. Lower yourself in one piece, pulling those elbows in, finding the floor. Pulling up to baby cobra, using your back, not your arms. And exhale, back down, pulling back downward facing dog. Look up to the hands, step the left foot, then the right foot up. Halfway lift, finding that length that we established, then let the head go. Sweep all the way up to standing, circling the arms. Pull the hands down to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bend over the legs. Halfway lift. Plant the hands. Hop or step back to plank. Bending the elbows slightly to catch yourself. And then lower knees, chest, chin. Pulling through to cobra. Rolling back to downward facing dog. Lift the right heel high to the sky. Open the leg. Bend the knee. Stack the hips on top of each other, stretching open the hip. Letting the foot hang behind you. Firming down through the right hand, so you're still squaring off through the shoulders. And then square off through the hips again, bring the toes to face down, three-legged dog. Pull the knee to the nose, step the foot between the hands. And then heel toe the foot out to the side slightly, lower the back knee down, coming into lizard. So you can keep your hands up if you like, or walk your hands down, bringing your elbows closer to the floor. You can even use a prop if you have blocks or something to bring your elbows onto that. Letting your head hang, stretching down into the neck as well. Breathing into the hips. And start to walk your hands back up if you had your elbows on the ground. Tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. And then just step right back to downward facing dog, lifting the hips. Finding neutral here in the inversion. Finding your breath. Then lift your left heel up. And then bend, stack, and open the leg. Let the knee bend, let the foot hang. Pulling the left hip on top of the right. Finding the weight through the left hand. Square back off, three-legged dog. Pull the knee to the nose, step the foot between the hands. First heel toe the foot out to the side and then lower the back leg down. Knee down, untucking the toes. Take your time coming down into lizard. Wherever you feel like you can breathe and slowly release. So if it's too much of a stretch, then back out of it. Still want to be able to breathe. Letting your body fall closer to the ground. Even though this is called lizard, I like to think of a grasshopper in this position. So the image of the hind legs coming up around the body. Two more deep breaths. And if you're low, start to walk yourself back onto your hands. Tucking the back toes, bringing energy into the back leg, lifting the knee. First squaring off through the hips, and then firming through the hands as you lift the front foot back to downward facing dog. Right leg high to the sky, bend, stack, and open. Letting the foot fall behind you, you can stay here, or bend both knees, let that foot keep falling, flipping your dog, letting the right hand come off the floor, reaching into your back bend, lifting the hips, knees still tracking over toes, and then lower the hips back down to the ground as you flip right back, bringing your hands next to each other, lifting the foot back to three-legged dog where we'll all meet. Sweep the foot forward, stepping between the hands. Seal the back heel down and windmill the arms up to warrior two. Flip the front palm, reach up to reach back, peaceful. And then bring the front arm back down, finding your forearm on your thigh. Sweep the left arm down to the ground, pinky facing you, until it reaches all the way around, rolling into your side angle. Opening up the chest. First, finding space in this pose. So let the arm push you away from the leg, which actually helps you balance and firm down into the ground. Energy through that back leg, sensing all four corners of your feet. On the exhale, feel the spiral, twisting yourself higher, opening up towards the sky. And then bring your hand back down to the ground, framing the foot, bring the back heel back up. And let's step back to plank and go through a flow of your choice. You can go through chaturanga, pulling the elbows in, lifting up to upward facing dog with the hips up. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Lift the left heel high to the sky, bend, stack, and open. And if you're going further, let the foot fall down to the ground, bending in both knees. So you can find your reverse, letting one arm come up, reaching the hips up, looking back to that hand. One more breath, expanding up towards the sky, and then bring your hand back down, lowering the hips so you can flip back up, kicking to three-legged dog. Squaring the hips, pulling the knee towards the nose as you roll forward, stepping the foot between the hands, sealing the back heel and coming up to warrior two on the other side. Flipping the front palm, reaching up and back, peaceful, sweeping forward, first lowering down that arm and then bringing the other down to the floor so you can find the rack of the pinky before you roll your chest open. Looking up to that elbow towards the sky. Imagining the line all the way down from your heel, through your torso, up through your head, up through your arm. How can you make more space? Finding the space in your hip, even though you're bending towards it. And note that feeling, since we'll come back to that. How can your arm make more space there? Inhale, finding length. Exhale, deepening the pose. And then bring the hands back around the foot. Step back to plank. Go through your flow. Finding one breath per movement. All meeting in downward facing dog. Lift the right heel high to the sky. This time, bend, stack, and open the leg. Keep the left leg straight. Let the right fall, coming into your wild thing, so only one leg is bent. Reaching up behind you with your right arm. And then lower the hips. Look where you're going. Bring your hand next to each other, bending the knees, and then straightening back up to three-legged dog. Pull the knee to the nose, stepping between the hands, sealing the back heel, coming back to warrior two. Right where we were. Inhaling, flipping the hand, leaning back to peaceful. This time lowering the front arm, bending your body back to the front of your space, coming into your side angle. This time coming into a bind if you feel comfortable in it. So you can always just stay in this supported side angle where we were, or if you are using a strap, take it in your top arm. So here, it's your left hand, and bring your arm behind you like you're reaching for your back hip. Lower your body, still keeping space in the hip, but lowering your elbow closer to your knee until you can wrap all the way under the leg, grabbing for that strap that's hanging down, or reaching for your hands if you can come into a full bind. So making sure that you can open up through the chest. So I know this takes a lot of strength in that front leg. Keep engaging your core to support you in the center. And exhale to twist the lower ribs forward. Beautiful. Undo the clasp. You can just let your strap drop if you have it. Bringing the left hand down to the ground, lifting the back heel, come into a revolve to counter twist. Lifting the right hand high to the sky, twisting your organs towards the leg. And then bring your hand back down, step back to downward facing dog. Lift the left heel up, then stack and open. Coming into our wild thing on the other side, so you can always take a modification of what we've done before, but if you'd like to come into it, keep the right leg straight, let the left leg come to the ground, spinning the toes to point away from you, lifting the left arm, lifting the hips up. Coming into kind of like a fallen star. And then look back where you're going, lower everything closer to the ground so you can restack. Hands next to each other. Left leg high, pull knee to nose, stepping between the hands, sealing the back heel, coming up to warrior two. First finding your center, head over heels. Flipping the front palm, reaching back, peaceful to first find space on that left side and then reach forward. Either coming into our first modification or grabbing your strap. Wrapping the right arm behind you, letting the strap hang. As we lower the torso, maybe bending deeper into the knee, bringing the shoulder closer to the knee until you can wrap the left arm underneath, grabbing for that strap. Keep spinning open. Keep checking in with that core. Grounding through the back leg will help you here, so it's not just in the front leg. Loosen the neck, loosen the jaw. You got it. And then let the bind go. Just let the strap go. First, finding the right hand on the ground next to the foot, lifting the back heel, squaring off through the hips. Then lift the left arm up, twisting towards the leg, looking up to that left hand, feeling the weight stacking over your wrist. And then lower both hands down, squaring the hands, stepping back, downward facing dog. Lower the knees, sit back to child's pose for a breath. Hopefully you're feeling warmer in your hips now. We're gonna go through all of that flowing a little bit faster. So make sure you still have your strap close by. We're gonna try to go through it one breath per movement. So reach your hands forward, tuck the toes, lift the hips back to downward facing dog. Lift the right heel high, bend, stack, and open, falling if you want to fall to any kind of flipped position. Inhale, reach back, lower the hips back down, find the hands on the mat, lift the heel back up. Sweep forward, stepping into your warrior two, bringing the arms out to the sides, flipping the front palm, inhale back to peaceful. Lower the arm down, coming into your side angle or your bind. We'll take an extra breath here. So if you want to grab your prop, reaching your hands behind you, pulling the heart open, rotating around that midline, and then let it go. Planting the opposite hand, lifting the hip, coming into your revolve, twisting towards the leg. Plant the hands, step right back, downward facing dog. Left heel high, bend, stack, and open. Trying to do the same thing you did on the other side. Flipping if you're flipping. Having integrity through the wrists, through the feet. Lowering the hips back down, coming back to three-legged dog. Curling knee to nose, stepping forward, sealing the heel, finding warrior two. First, reaching the arms away from each other, find that line, shoulders down. Reverse the warrior, peaceful. Sweep forward, side angle. Grabbing your strap, or just wrapping your arms around you. Hugging your torso towards your thigh. Imagining all that space in your hip that you've already established. And then release the bind, lower the right hand, lift the right heel, open the left arm. Lowering the hand around the foot, stepping back downward facing dog. And if you'd like to roll forward and go through a flow, you can. Lowering all the way down, or going through chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Neutraling, I keep saying that word, it's not a word. Finding your neutral spine. Lowering the knees, coming back to child's pose. Great job. Gorgeous. Plant the hands back down, lift the hips back to downward facing dog. Look towards the top of your mat, walk forward, finding a forward fold. This time, find your feet slightly apart so that you could fit two fists between your arches. Lower your hips, lift your arms, come up to a chair. Energy through the back. Lower your back so that it's parallel to the floor, finding your organs laying down onto your thighs, knees in lines with hips. And then lift your arms, lower your hips, coming back to chair. Lowering back down and coming back up with your breath. So you're arching through your chest, you're curling your tailbone down, and instead of your spine actually moving within itself, it comes in one piece, up and down. Finding the blooming of the heart, the engagement of the core as you lift, and then lower everything down in one piece. One more time, lifting up and lowering the torso in line with the floor. Then bring your arms to rest on your thighs. So bring your right arm forward. So you're crossing over your knees, kind of mapping where your knees are. So give your weight into your arms and notice how if your knees move, you get a response through your arms. So let your arms have feedback to tell you if you're twisting too far. As you open your right arm out to the side and come into a twist. Giving weight into that bottom arm so you don't have to do as much in your legs to hold your torso up. And then release that top arm behind you, coming into a bind, either just staying here, or this is gonna be our peak pose. If you're up for it, grab your strap, or if you know you can bind all the way, then good for you. So you can stay in this twist, just breathing, opening up through the chest, or release the left arm, wrap inside the knee, in between both legs, reaching your hands behind you to the outside of your hip. If you're using the strap, take it in your right arm, let it hang to the outside of your hip, and then grab it with the bottom arm. Heavying down through the right leg, starting to lift the left leg up, coming into your bird of paradise. So you're really strengthening through your arms to hold your leg up. You can stay with your leg bent, or start to kick out through the leg, opening up your flower at the top. Finding integrity through the hips and the shoulders first instead of the leg. So the strap is cradling the outside of the hip. You can see that. Just play with it. No problem if you fall and have to come back, or if you just want to stay feeling the twist with both legs on the ground. And if you're up, breathing as you heavy down through that rooted leg. Great. And if you're holding your leg up, start to bend your lower knee, bring the foot back down to the ground, and once both feet are on the ground, then undo the bind. Just let your whole body hang forward, forward fold. Let the arms go, let the head shake, yes and no. Maybe rocking through the hips, straightening one leg and then the other. Bringing your torso up slightly, lowering the hips slightly. Bring your thighs, your forearms onto your thighs once again. This time bringing the left arm forward, opening the left arm to the side, still getting that feedback from the arms to make sure that you're not turning in and out with the legs. Open the left arm high to the sky, and then release the arm, draping it behind you. Coming into the spine first, twisting here with both legs on the ground. Keep breathing. And then if you want to use your strap, you grab it in your left arm, let it hang to the outside of your right hip. Reach your right arm, elbow between knees, wrapping behind the thigh, grabbing for that strap or for your hand, heading down through the left foot. Starting to roll up, really using your core, trust yourself as you stand into the left leg, stacking the head and the shoulders over the hips. So more important to play with the balance than extending the leg. So once you're here, you can keep it kind of bent if you like, or start to play with extending it. If you're using the strap, you can use that as an opportunity to straighten the leg a bit lower than if you were in the full bind with your hands. Making sure that you're still using the strength of your arms so that you're not hanging into your joints. Give you another minute to play. Have fun with it. Don't hurt yourself. Keep breathing. And as you come down, lower the foot first and then undo the bind. Hang over forward fold. Great job. You rocked that. Take your right foot off the ground, twist your knee behind the left, bringing your bottom onto the floor with your right leg behind the left. So we're just stacking our legs. So if you didn't get there, just come down to the ground and bring your right leg on top of your left leg. Pull your knees to stack over each other as much as you can. You can manually help your legs, pulling your feet in towards your hips. And then one last thing with the strap. Take your strap in your left hand, bring your arms out to the side, twist your right thumb down to the ground, left thumb up. Start to twist up and down, bend the elbows, and start to reach behind you. So you can grab the strap, or you can grab for your hands, you can grab for your shirt, or just make fists towards each other. I like to use the strap here, even though I can grab my hands, because next we're gonna bend forward and it puts even more strain on the shoulders. So if you want to use that, you can. Pressing your head into the back of your arm. First finding length in the spine, and then exhale, bend down over the legs, opening up through the back of the heart. Finding the stretch in the thigh. So first try this full cow face pose. If you feel like you can't breathe, release the arms and bring the hands to either side of the knee. It's totally fine. Sometimes it's nice to just challenge yourself and see what it's like. Letting the forehead fall down towards the knee. Breathe into those hips. Let your exhales lengthen. Release the bind of the arms if you have it. Bring your hands down to the ground so you can help yourself roll up. Chin coming up last, head coming up last. And then keep your hips on the ground. Switch your legs, letting the right come off. Come to the bottom and then crossing the left. Nothing fancy here. Bringing the knees to cross over each other, pulling the feet in towards the hips, making sure that both sits bones are still firmly on the ground. And then take the strap in the right arm, bringing the arms out to the side, twisting the left arm, thumb down, bringing the hands behind you, coming into your bind on the other side, reaching for that hanging strap if you have it. First inhale, lifting the head into the arm, stretching through those underarms, breathing into the armpit. And then release as you slowly bend over the leg, bringing the forehead down towards the knee, towards the ground, curling in the spine. Imagining this line that your knees and your elbows are tracking onto through your center body, your midline. They might not be there, it's totally fine, but just envision that center. Folding inward. Taking any modifications of the arms that you need so you can keep breathing with ease. Release the hands, find the floor. Start to roll up through the spine, chin to chest, forehead coming up last. Now let's uncross the legs, bring them out in front of you, and recross the other way. Now find the right sole of the foot planting down onto the ground. Use your arms to pull the knee in towards the chest. First, finding this contact of thigh to chest. Then reach the left arm up and cross the elbow over the knee, or just grab around the knee, hugging it in. Exhale, twist, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, find length through the spine, heavying down, grounding through the sits bones, pulling the shoulders down. Exhaling, twisting deeper. Maybe closing your eyes here. Walk yourself back to center, bringing yourself forward. Counter twist for a moment, reaching your hands towards the left hip, dropping your head, bowing down. And walking back to center, extending the legs out in front of you, lengthening the legs, recrossing them left over right. Then find the sole of the left foot down, pulling the knee towards the sky. Inhale, lift the right arm. Exhale, grab into your bind or the twist of the elbow. Exhaling, looking over the left shoulder. Ease in the neck as you stretch open. Heavying down into the ground. You can use the hand behind you, right at the base of your spine, to find more length. So you're super tall, just twisting around that midline. Closing the eyes, going in. Make sure that your jaw is relaxed. One more breath. Exhaling, deepening into the twist. And then unwinding back to center, bringing the hands to the right hip, bowing the head down. On the other side, walking forward, extending the legs forward. Just bow over the legs, forward fold one more time, and then roll up and roll all the way down onto the floor into Shavasana. Bringing your legs just out, arms down by the side, palms up, toes laying out. Checking in with your environment again. What do you notice around you? And what do you notice within you? Start to bring your attention back to your breath, back to your body. As you deepen your breath, feel the oxygen flood through your body, down through your limbs. And let that wave of the breath initiate any kind of movement that you're called to do. To wake yourself back up. Stretching, yawning, wiggling. Make your way onto one side, pulling your knees in, pulling your elbows in, resting your head on your hands for a moment. Exhaling, falling into the ground. And then roll forward so that your weight can come into your hands as you walk yourself up to a seat, head coming up last. Bring your hands to heart center, hand to hand or palm over heart, and bow your head towards your heart. Thank yourself for your practice today. You did such beautiful work, such beautiful inquiry. Thank yourself for all of your effort and all of your ease. And thank you so much. Gratitude from me to you for showing up today and practicing with me. Thanks. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will unmute you.